Hello. Welcome to A Dreamer's Experience, Conquer the Chaos. My name is Sean Laurie, and as an entrepreneur and a father of four, I want to give you guys different tools and insights each week that will not only help you as an individual, but also as a parent conquer the chaos.
And hey guys, my name is Tiffany Lowry. I am co hosting alongside my husband. I do wear many hats, and the two that I am the most proud of is being a mother and a wife. We have had many chaotic moments as a family, but somehow we've always managed to conquer the chaos. And that's why I'm excited to be here with you guys and share some of our journey.
Yes, so welcome. Last week, right, we talked about risk versus reward. And so this is part two of that. And I actually was asked, right, like how do you go about that? How do you kind of figure out for whatever goals or dreams you want to achieve, how do you go about that? And obviously calculating those risks as well, right? And so I want to give you guys 5 things that can help you achieve your goals as a parent,
Mhm.
right? And it can be scary, obviously, but but yeah. So we'll dive into it. The first thing that comes to mind is networking,
Yeah.
right? Networking is a big one, honestly, because so many times as parents we're thinking like, no, like man, okay, for example, I want to maybe speak somewhere, right? I want to speak at a school, right, and be a motivational speaker. And you're just like, man, I don't know how to go about that. I don't know how to achieve that goal, and that's something that can be attainable if you think about it, because your relationships that you might have with the teachers, with the principals, right? Just different things like that that can help you be able to actually get closer to that goal. Basically, using your resources. Your spouse may know someone. My wife has known many people, and she'll connect me with them, and it's been a blessing because of that.
Yeah. I think you had mentioned one time recently how you wanted to, what was it, make flyers, right?
Oh
To
yes,
hand out. And I remember you asking, like, oh, hey, like, would it be a good idea to maybe go out to different community centers? And I remember I suggested to you, like, hey, why don't you start with the one that you're already familiar with, which is where Junior plays basketball. And you were able to talk to them. And go ahead, I'll let you share what the
yeah,
outcome was.
yeah. So yeah, she's right. Just something simple like that, right? So my son's playing basketball with a community in the community center, and I was playing basketball myself there at first actually, but it came like full circle where he's playing there and I made different connections with them. And now we're in a process now of basically building a partnership, right? And now they're letting me be to promote some of the things I'm doing for the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. And they even talked about possibly like setting up, I think, a time for you to be able to speak too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's that's a blessing. That's amazing in itself. So
Hmm.
just different things like that, and even like I said, I've been using the motivational speaker, for example. If that's, let's say you want to do that, for example. I even had the opportunity when I was in California to speak at a few schools, um, and even at the was it the Girl Scouts?
Boys and Girls Club.
But yeah, Boys and Girls Club. There you go,
Hmm.
Boys and Girls Club. And that was literally because of the different connections and the opportunities that I got from people I met. So just wanted to encourage you in that aspect, because sometimes as parents we're thinking like, okay, you know what, I there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can, be able to I don't know. So a lot of times we just get in our own heads with certain things.
Yeah.
But that actually goes into the second one, right?
Yeah. Attitude. So, your attitude and perspective when it comes to achieving those things, like it's gonna, a lot of times it'll make or break, because the attitude and the way we perceive things, like if we have a negative attitude about it, like, oh no, like nobody's gonna ever want me to speak, or, nobody's ever gonna, I don't know, come across my website. Like the more we put that into our heads, the more it starts to influence our way of thinking.
Yeah, I like that. And actually, too, just to backtrack real quick, because, like, right, you're thinking, okay, as far as networking goes as well, like, the risk, what the quote unquote risk would be like, okay, if I'm reaching out to someone, they may say no. They may, but they may also say yes.
Yeah. And then even like, let's say even you come across 10 no's, like, or even 20 no's, like eventually you're going to come across one yes. And that one yes could be life changing.
Exactly. And that, like, the networking and attitude in a way goes together in a way, because right, you have to have the right attitude, the right mind frame to be like, hey, I'm gonna talk to the principal about maybe speaking, and I believe that, I'm gonna have the attitude. I'm gonna come in there confident. I'm gonna come in there knowing that what I'm trying to give to this school or whatever it is, I know that I can do it well.
Yeah, and you're bringing, and just knowing that what you're bringing to the table is bringing value.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
Exactly. And same, just like I'm sure you guys might have did it before, right? Where you may have got like a job opportunity because of networking, right? Because someone else was able to get you in, right? And I'm sure you have the attitude of, man, when I go in there, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna bust my tail, I'm not gonna mess around, and having that same mind frame. And that might be one of your goals as well. That might be one of your goals, to be to get in a certain job or move up in a certain company.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also just making, like, going hand in hand with attitude and networking, just knowing what you bring to the table and knowing that what you have is valuable, right? Like, I think when I started my new job, when I interviewed with them, I had let them know, like, hey, I can't go below this pay range. And, they had told me, oh, well, this position starts off at, blah, blah, blah. And but I'll see what I can do. And ultimately they were like, okay, hey, we can work with what you have. But that was me taking value in what I know that I have to offer.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, so that's such a huge thing. Which you guys, know we I think I talked about before previously, but just having that right mind frame, right? That right mindset as far as achieving what you want to do, because it starts obviously up here. And then that's number two. Number three is, honestly, people don't care as much as we think they do.
Yeah.
Right. Again, that goes in our attitude, that goes in the way our thinking, but people really don't care. Now, do you might, maybe have, your dad or your mom or maybe that cousin, right, that might, be concerned or care? Yes, of course. Right. But a lot of times people don't care. Like, man, I want to go back to school, but I'm worried about what other people are going to think, especially social media. Social media, I feel like we care too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And like he said, people don't care as much. A lot of times it's more so us being more so insecure, honestly, like in ourselves and what we think other people are going to think about us when it comes to achieving those things.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to look at it like this. What's the worst thing that can happen by social media standards, right? Like, at the end of the day, let's be honest too. Let's just say, I don't know, you're like, oh man, I post I'm going back to school. People talk bad about you. At the end of the day, there's so much, right, in your timeline. There's so much going on. People gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I think we get into our own heads, kind of like what we were talking about before, where we just kind of are trying to set ourselves up for failure in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the positive and negative thing at the same time when it comes to social media, right? Because it is good because you can really grow your networking. You can really grow your brand and whatever you want to do with it. But at the same time, you could also get in your own head and be paralyzed by it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, you know what? Whatever. I posted that I got an A on my test and it was stressful, and someone did the laugh emoji, right? Oh my gosh, they must think I'm dumb or something because they laughed because I passed this test. Where they might be laughing because they're like, oh man, I'm laughing because I remember I failed that test.
Yeah.
Right. But our own perception, we're in our own heads and we're just thinking like, oh no, like, I'm too old to be going back to school. I'm too old to be pursuing a certain dreams. Or, a lot of times, especially dealing with some of my clients, it's one of those things where they're like, man, my dreams have died because I'm a parent.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I've heard that before.
yeah, I mean, and that's easy to feel that way, right? Because at the end of the day, of course, you want to provide for your child. You want to make sure they're good, and of course, you make sure, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be one way. It doesn't have to be black
Yeah.
or white.
Hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of times people get lost in.
Yeah. And then number 4 is the challenges will never stop. I think that's a big one.
Yeah,
I think with anything, right, there's always going to be some type of challenge. And then once we overcome one, I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like there's going to be something else that comes up.
yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think too at times, right? This is where it stops us from pursuing whatever it is we want to achieve. Is I
Mm-hmm.
think we mix the two between like you know different challenges and not providing for our family, for example, right? So
Mm-hmm.
depending on what your goal is, your dream, whatever it is, it's different levels. So a challenge may be, okay, man, the new Yeezys are out, right? Oh my gosh, I need the new Yeezys. I mean, I'm not into it personally, but for those that's into it. So if it's between, okay, I just can't get no Yeezys for a couple months compared to my child won't be able to eat. Those are two different things,
Yeah.
right? Like obviously as a parent, I'm not saying for you, literally sacrifice everything where your child and you are in a terrible situation or you're risking your livelihood. No.
Yeah.
But oh no, I was just gonna say, but like I think it's just more so as far as like maybe you have to downsize, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to downsize. I had to do that. Or obviously, I should say we had to do that, right? Had to downsize. You have to, maybe a risk versus a reward. For example, a business loan,
The
right?
finances. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Taking out a business loan because you truly believe in what you want to do, right? And before you say, "Oh my goodness, a business loan," I do want to start my business, but I'm too scared. I look at it like this: how many people take out a loan for school and never finish?
A lot.
Right? Like I know so many people that are in debt for school when they had no clue what they were going to do.
Yeah.
They had no clue and they're just going just because they feel like I'm supposed to be going.
Mm-hmm.
But at least if you had a business loan, at least okay, this is the goal. This is what I'm trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So you're betting on yourself. You already have an idea compared to, okay, I went to USC for 3 semesters. I didn't finish and I owe $80,000 now.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's just important though to understand like there are going to be challenges, there are going to be certain decisions you're going to have to make, and as long as you're not putting your family or yourself in danger, that's okay. There's been times where me and my wife, we had to sacrifice, okay, you know what, we're not going to eat as much, for example.
Yeah.
We're making sure our kids going to eat, but we're just going to eat whatever's in the fridge.
Yeah.
Well, eggs.
Struggle meals.
Yeah. I mean, struggle meals to me are some of them are fire. I'm not gonna lie, they're delicious. Eggs, rice, and like sausage, delicious. Anyways, those are good for me. But yeah, just understanding that those challenges are going to be just like with anything. You're not going to ever go through life with no challenges.
Yeah. And I think the one of the biggest things when it comes to that is once we hit like a challenge or a roadblock, a lot of times we get frustrated and want to quit. Like I know for you,
Yeah.
you've experienced that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I've I've had a bunch of those. Like I said, challenges are going to happen, right? When you don't see the results right away,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you're questioning if you should be doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's never going to be, regardless, whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, it's never going to be easy, especially as a parent.
Yeah. I remember recently, hopefully you are
That's
okay with
fine.
me sharing this. Recently, I remember his coaching sessions had ended, and he was going back and forth with whether or not he should continue them, right? And I think a big thing for him was finances, which is understandable. We just moved, started a new job, new place, whatever. But just knowing that sacrifice, that financial sacrifice, was ultimately going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, I think it's been
Yeah.
beneficial for you.
Yeah. Why the hell you? I'm just kidding. No, I was playing. No, no, that's definitely true. Yeah, it was definitely a challenge because obviously, as you guys know, we share with you guys we moved, we just getting settled in, right? So I'm just like, man, it's we don't have this much money over here to spend for me to basically invest in myself to continue to grow and to continue to be to help more people at the end of the day. That's what it's for, right?
Yeah.
I do the different coaches and things like that for myself so I can help others even more so,
Yeah.
right? And having that vision
Yeah.
to understand that, right? And luckily I have her here to help me with that because yeah, that's definitely a challenge. And finances is always going to be a challenge, no matter who you are, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just what it is for certain things. That's just the reality.
Mhm.
And so you have to honestly have a better relationship with finances.
Yeah. And just being okay with knowing, like, hey, this is, like, as far as finances go, like, this is just what, basically being willing to invest in yourself.
Yeah. 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 I think and that's hard for a lot of people to be able to invest in themselves and some people, some people don't care. They just spend it like crazy. But there's a lot of people as well that like, it's hard for them to treat themselves,
Mhm.
right? They'll treat others. And it's weird to be like, okay, you know what? Like this investment is treating myself,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
This is rewarding myself, and believing in myself.
Yeah. But a lot of times I think what happens is we're hesitant about making that investment because we don't, obviously, with a lot of things, right? We don't see the results right away. So we're like, oh, I made this investment. Okay, boom, something's supposed to happen, when in reality it's not. And then that's when, those, it gets
Yeah.
frustrating.
And even as far as like, like I said, challenge, we're talking about challenges never stop. Even like there's times where I feel like everything's going good, right? And I'm still having challenges mentally, right?
Yeah.
I'm still feeling like, man, I'm not doing enough.
Mm,
I'm not good enough,
mm,
right?
yeah.
Or you're having the challenges of, man, I don't deserve maybe the praise I'm getting. I don't deserve people recognizing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that could be, and now you're starting to sabotage yourself,
Yeah.
and so that's why I said or like we said, there's going to be so many challenges and they're never going to stop.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to invest in yourself, to surround yourself with a support team and things like that.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into a little bit as well because these things are great to do, but you do need some key things for these things to take place, especially as a parent.
Yeah.
Um,
Support is definitely
huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And then the fifth thing before we dive into that, the fifth thing is you can never stop.
Yeah.
You
That's a big one.
Yeah, you can never stop. Um, and when I say never stop, I mean literally never stop. It doesn't matter how slow you're going,
Mhm.
but you just can't stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, I use this as far as like, I'll just make up something. I like to use examples of Billy. I don't know why. That's just what I do. You can ask my wife. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is with Billy. So we're gonna use Billy. There's a guy named Billy, okay? And he's 38 years old. He wants to go back to school, right? He didn't finish school. He wants to go back to school. Let's say he has 4 kids like me. Let's say he has 4 kids. He wants to go back to school and he starts and he's maybe going online and it's part-time, so it might take him, let's say it takes him 4 or 5 years to finish something that would have took 2 years if he was going full-time.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day he still finished it.
Yeah.
He still accomplished that goal.
Mhm.
And I think that's something I use that example because I think that's something that we kind of lose sight of,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like for example, well, you guys might be like this. I I'm kind of like this. Yeah. So like, those people that you knew if you went to college, they'd be like, not all people, but a lot of them. They'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go back to college. Yeah. They're 18, 19 years old. They're going, and then they're like, I'm gonna take a year or two off. And a lot of times, do they go back? No, they don't.
That was actually me.
Yeah. Well, see, there you go. Right. So
The school wasn't for me though.
yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. I'm just
Yeah.
using that for example,
Yeah.
though, where we'll stop. And then because, too, another reason why it's so important for you to continue to go, because now you have to build up that momentum.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say next.
Yeah.
That momentum. A lot of times when we stop doing something, we lose that momentum,
Hmm.
and then it's hard for us to get back into that rhythm. Like I know for me, like working out, once the pandemic hit, I lost a lot of that momentum and I had to start all over. And it's frustrating, but finding that momentum, just learning to never stop, that's key, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good example right there, right? That could be someone's goal, right? Like, hey, I want to lose X amount of pounds, or if you're like
Mhm.
me, I want to get bigger, whatever the case is, right? Keeping that momentum, because right, like for example, if you're like you get in a routine every Tuesday and Thursday, you work out, right? You get up early morning, you work out, and then you start slacking off a little bit, slacking. Now all of a sudden, it gets harder to get up at times. It's harder to
Yeah.
because too, right? When you stop, now you're not seeing no results,
Mhm.
right? When you stop chasing your goals, you're not seeing no goal, you're not seeing no results at all. It's already when we're doing something, we're not really seeing results, but we see a little. We're being honest. We see a tiny bit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and then a lot of times once we stop that momentum, then we start getting into our own heads
Yeah.
again, which is, obviously something we've tied into with everything pretty much. We
Yeah.
start getting into our own heads. We're like, oh, I can't do this, or oh, maybe I don't need to do this, or
Hmm.
oh, let me just stop,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
so
No, and then think about too when you're constantly going. Again, doesn't matter if slow and steady or if you're just taking off, Speedy Gonzalez, whatever. um, but it's one of those things where when you're constantly going, pursuing whatever it is you want to pursue, that's where different ideas come from too, right?
yeah,
Different
keep it
things start
flowing.
exactly. Now all of a sudden, we'll use the workout one. So you're working out, and it might not be every day, but you work out twice a week, whatever. And all of a sudden, you start maybe having ideas of how you want to change the way you eat,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or you have a business, you start having different ways how you want to be able to serve other people,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, school,
Hmm.
whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, all of a sudden different ideas though, because you're inspired. You're constantly inspiring yourself and you don't realize it,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know.
Even I think with the flyers, I don't even remember how that came about. I think you were just brainstorming one day about how to like kind of get the word out there a little bit
Yeah.
more. And yeah, so with that came the flyers. So, and that was just from you brainstorming.
And then the crazy part is, right, because too, that's why I feel like it's so big with momentum, because once you get that momentum, it feels like everything starts gravi-
Yeah.
gravitate towards you, right? Because when I was speaking to the community center, they also mentioned the flyers, like, and I was like, well, that's crazy that I was thinking that,
Hmm.
and they're saying like, yeah, hey, you could bring some flyers in,
Hmm.
and so building that momentum, really getting that honestly, just as Nipsey would say, right, the marathon continues. So
Yeah.
so just continuing to run that race, no
Hmm.
matter how difficult it is.
Yeah. And not letting, like we said, not letting yourself get in your own head,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Um, and so those are the five key things I feel that will help you achieve your goals as a parent. Even if you're not a parent, but especially as a parent.
Yeah.
Um, but like all those things are great, but first you have to make sure your family and you are on the same page.
Yeah. Hmm.
That is key. You and your family. It doesn't matter if you're a single parent or you're with the mother or father of your child. You guys have to be on the same page,
Yeah.
because if you're not on the same page, you're not going to be able to accomplish none of your goals.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm gonna just be honest, because if not, they can hold you. Like if I wanted to, I could hold my wife hostage. She could hold me hostage. Maybe on purpose, maybe not on purpose, but she could hold me hostage. right?
Mhm.
So you have to be on that same page. That's why it's so important. That's a whole nother conversation, but that's so important to just definitely be cautious and and know your worth before you settle down and have a family and things like that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, if I feel like that's so critical. I feel like that's so critical because that is where the support is going to be.
Yeah. Hmm. I think, I mean, we've had many, many conversations like about pursuing things. And I think that's key, is to have that communication and be able to be on the same page, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
no.
important.
Yeah. And if again, no matter what it is, especially when you have a family, you're going to need some type of support.
Yeah.
You're going to like, regardless, you're going to need some type of support or need someone's help at some point, anyways. Even if you don't have a family,
Hmm.
um, no one can say they truly did anything by themselves because you need an opportunity, right,
Hmm.
to open up. But especially as someone with kids, a parent, you need that support. It doesn't matter if it's your child. Let's say, you have a child that's 17 and you have a smaller child, and at times you need that 17-year-old to watch your younger child, right? That's still getting support.
Yeah.
That's still because you're like, hey, just please watch baby.
Camille.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we do that with Camille,
Yeah.
honestly, right? Like our oldest, like, please just keep these crazy children calm
Yeah.
for like
Yes.
20 minutes so I can, whatever, get this done, finish this phone call, whatever the case is. Without her, right, it'd be difficult.
Yeah.
Without my wife, it'd be difficult, right? So, but we all know what the goal is. We all know what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And so that's just so key. And if not, if you don't have that, then you need to really reevaluate some things. Maybe, if it's having a family meeting, if it's something much deeper, get therapy, whatever the case is, though, because if your household's not right, nothing's going to be right for you.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Especially, you're working a long day at work, working 10, 12 hours, you come home and you're dealing with nonsense. Nobody wants to deal with that, right? And that alone is going to drain you, and that's going to rob you from your creativity. That's going to rob you
Hmm.
from being motivated to
Yeah.
work out,
Yeah.
start a business, whatever the case is, because you're like, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, or what's the point? Because at the end of the day, when I bring my ideas to my wife, she's shutting it down,
Hmm.
right? Now, again, I'm not having that, but I'm just saying that's what some people are dealing with,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa,
Yeah.
right? Where my wife gives me an idea and I'm shutting it down.
Yeah. Just like, I think, just banking off of that, like when we moved out here, I had gotten a job opportunity for one job, and I hated it. Like it was, I wasn't even there for that long, but it was probably like the worst job that I've experienced. And I think I had went in one day and I came home and I told my husband, like, I can't work here anymore. Like I'm gonna I have to quit. Bless you.
Hey,
And he was like, okay, he was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, just, keep doing what you have to do, apply for other jobs. Like, what's the worst they can do? Fire you, and then you just find another job. And I was like, huh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, because that was, man. My see, she told some on me, guys. So I'm gonna say something for her. Um, yeah, no, she was definitely stressing during that time. She was
Yeah.
like really going through it, really upset. And, I think at times it kind of made her mad because I was like, I mean, if they fire you, they fire you. Like, who cares? Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, like, of course, I don't want her to get fired. Um, but at the same time, I just looked at it like it's going to work itself out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how much I believed in her because she was feeling stressed, like, oh man, you know what? Like, no, we're getting our things, we're getting things going out here. And obviously, yes, you have your business going on, but I'm not trying to put all the pressure on you. And so, and that's the type of wife I have, right? Where she's like, no, I'm making sure that I contribute and I do everything I can for this family. That's just how she operates. But I told her, like, hey, let's not worry about it. And I
Mhm.
think by me doing that, I think that did help her
Yeah.
because I could have been like, quit. No, you gonna keep working. We just moved to another state. You're not gonna just put it on me. And no, and
Mhm.
so so I made sure that I encouraged her, and then it worked itself out. Now she's in a place where she really enjoys it, right? And
Yeah.
so, um, and that's why I said that that's so important because again, what if I just had the attitude, what we talked about, where I had the attitude of, oh hell no, I'm like that's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about how that can affect her,
Mhm.
and how it trickles down in our whole family.
Yeah.
So that's just something that's so important, so key
Yeah.
that yeah, that I think, I want you guys to also consider before instilling those five things that we just talked about. Just make sure that your household is in order.
Yeah.
Because without that, this is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
um but yeah, before we close out, guys, I definitely want to encourage you guys to subscribe on it's on was it
What?
iPhone?
The Apple Podcast?
Apple, look, okay, don't judge me. She talks about me all the time. Apple
Old man.
Podcasts, yeah, she calls me an old man. Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, the Google podcast, YouTube. If you're listening right now instead of watching, then definitely just encourage you to please subscribe. I appreciate it. Also, make sure that you actually, I almost forgot to. March 27th, was it Self Elevation, Reset Parents Mindset will be launching. The program will be launching then. And if you're interested, please text 254-304-7543, 254-304-7543. Just text no perfect parent. No perfect parent, and we can connect. I can give you more information. Or, you can even email me at dreamersambition@gmail.com. You can also email me there to get more information if that's what you're more comfortable with. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys always, always just giving that support that you guys been giving us. So before I close out, like always, guys, I just want to remind you as parents to keep being an inspiration and never downplay your impact, and just know what you're doing for your loved ones is special and that you're going to conquer the chaos. You guys have a good one.
Oh wait, I didn't get to shout out Marcus.
Oh
Empowerment.
shoot, why you didn't? Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I mean you can't see it now, but anyways, shout out to Marcus. Empowerment. Empowerment boxing. Empowerment everything.
Yeah, if you guys don't, if you guys don't know, real quick, we're doing the plug for our boy Marcus with the Empowerment KC. Yeah. And
Logan.
and if you if you're listening, you're like, wait, what? Just know we'll put the link down. We'll put the link down so you could get check out some of his stuff. But that's one of our good friends, so we had to definitely give him a
Best
shout out.
trainer.
Yes,
I need
sir.
him out in Texas.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, appreciate you guys like always. Hopefully you have a great was it weekend night.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good one. See y'all soon.